Welcome back to Brashenomics, everyone. Again, Heather Moore filling in for Ben Brash. And at the top of the hour, we're talking about how to find the best professional to work with. And I was saying most of us use online internet resources. And before we had gone live, Tyler, you'd mentioned an interesting one I'd never heard of before.
Yeah, Ripoff Report. So check that if you're nervous.
What is that?
Well, it's a site that you can kind of go to when there's like bad reports on people that provided service for you. And apparently we ran into some people in the past that couldn't get their names off there. So it's pretty, you don't want to be there, tell you what.
That is one reason to do the best you can with every client or person you work with.
Exactly.
Well, let's get back to what we planned on talking about. In the past 3 years, Tyler's helped more than 90 buyers and sellers and online buyers and sellers. You know, you can look and find 45 excellent reviews on the services he has provided. And I know that he hasn't paid to move them to the top or delete them.
Correct.
Because on Zillow, you can't.
No.
So sometimes you just have to deal with what's there. Well, anyway, you let me know that some recent statistics for September have been released in the Northwest MLS, and charts are showing that year over year, there's changes in Seattle and the Eastside market, and those have been released. So I wanted to know, we reach a lot of Seattle and Eastside listeners. What's the hotter market right now, Seattle or Bellevue?
That's a good question. I mean, everything right now is really hot, especially in those two areas. But what we're seeing is the market time's a little shorter in Seattle, but the asking prices are a lot higher in Bellevue, and days on market are a lot lower in Bellevue. So, like the best area, it's always a question I get all the time. What are the best areas? And I think there's kind of like a top four.
Okay, in Seattle and Bellevue, or four in each, or four total?
I'd say four total. That just always come to mind, and that's probably people saying, hey, I want to live in these areas. So I think on the east side, it's always Kirkland and Bellevue, and then over in Seattle, it's the Queen Anne and Green Lake markets. Everyone wants to be there.
Green Lake's good.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that. Well, you work with a lot of relocation buyers. So do you think sometimes they come, doing their own research online, they come to you with a specific idea of what might be good, and then they actually end up changing their minds later on? Yeah,
a lot of people that are relocating out of state don't really have an idea of where things are located. So they're like, we want to be in Bellevue, but we're going to be working in Tacoma. So it's the first couple times you take them out there, you got to show them different areas and give them an idea. There's some good travel time where you want to be. So.
Absolutely. And they think just because it's the SeaTac airport, it might actually be in Seattle.
Exactly.
It's completely not the case. But, you had said that Green Lake and Queen Anne and, the Bellevue, Kirkland are always kind of hot markets. Why is that?
Well, I think it's just a fun place to live. I mean, the nightlife, the bars are really fun. There's, good walk scores. There's stuff to do. I mean, Kirkland, you're out by the water and you can kind of spend the day doing that. And the biggest thing, people that are buying obviously might have young kids or might be older, and they really like the schools. So that's huge. That's always the number one concern of people with kids.
Well, it's kind of interesting, too, because both of these areas seem like they're good for families and good for younger people as well, which maybe, does that contribute to the demand as well? Yeah, because,
what we've seen is a huge first-time buyer push, over the last 12 months of people buying. So they want to be in these fun areas. And then, with everything kind of recovering and the appreciation, people are able to buy. The move-up buyers are coming in the market, right? So now they're concerned, we've got kids, we've got a small place, we need to move out of these fun places into a bigger place, but let's stay local. We love the area.
Yeah, and people are staying in their houses longer, too, so something where they can kind of grow into it and still enjoy the neighborhood is probably a good idea, too.
Yeah.
What else about some of these recent Northwest MLS statistics for September that were released kind of surprised you?
Well, I was looking, just the lack of inventory. We hear people talk about it.
We've been talking about it for a while.
It's really, I feel like the last 3 months we've talked about it every time. So, but just to see it on paper is just unbelievable. Since last year, 33.5% of the inventory is gone, in the two areas. I mean, that's a third of the market that's just not there anymore. So, and how that comes into play is we're out showing houses and, you see the stuff that stayed on the market and there's a reason it's still on the market. And then you see that one that kind of jumps out.
Yeah.
And you call the agent.
For it.
Yeah, call the agent. Yeah, I have 10 offers, so good luck. We'll be presenting in the next 10 minutes. So it's a challenge.
Interesting. Well, has the low inventory, has it changed at all? Has the levels dropped even more? Or is it just kind of this constant, 2 to 3 months of inventory in a lot of places?
I think it's dropped a little bit. Let's see. I think it was 3-month inventory in Bellevue last year. Now it's down to 2 months of inventory, and even lower in Seattle slightly. So it's a difference maker.
Yeah. With, inventory going down, you mentioned 33.5% in Seattle and Eastside. I mean, gosh, that's a third of it from last year. As you mentioned, are you selling much in these areas because inventory's down? Are homes still moving?
Yeah, they are still moving. You just kind of got to be on top of it, like we talked about earlier. I just had one that I got signed around last week in the Surrey Downs part of Bellevue, and then last week closed a condo in Alki short sale.
Okay.
Signed around in February. That was a long wait.
That is a long one. I heard they generally take, a pretty long time.
Yeah, some of them are really quick if it's smaller banks, or Chase is starting to do a lot better. But that one.
They can vary a lot.
Yeah, and then I had another closing. Let's see, where was that one? I've got one closing this week on the east side, a townhouse that we had built. And then, we did one with Ben and Cobalt in Westlake, so that was fun. That just closed last week, too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what about anything that you've shown lately that's jumped out as you, kind of cool things going on in the market?
Yeah, I have a buddy that's it's just opened up the shop down at Pike Place Market, and they're doing like cuisine, cooking classes, online cooking classes, and stuff like that. So he wants to live kind of down in the heart of Seattle. So we looked at this really cool loft in Pioneer Square, and weren't able to come together on that. And then we found another one in Post Alley. It was a 1917 like New York style loft.
Really? So like exposed brick and stuff?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, and you kind of just walk in there and just right in the downtown heart of everything, and walking distance to Pike Place, and it had the brick. It really reminded me of Friends, kind of stuff like that. So it was cool. It was really fun.
That's great. Well, living, downtown, I assume that kind of has to be a specific kind of lifestyle choice. Are these condos and stuff you'd find downtown a lot smaller than?
Yeah. It definitely a lot smaller, and it's going to take a person that, doesn't mind not having parking and, just wants to not really have the commute, just wants to walk straight to work. And kind of younger generation. I didn't see these buyers are people 30 and under that are want to enjoy the city life and live it up.
Yeah, you do work with a lot of first-time home buyers, so I can imagine that maybe not the first purchase is always that 3-4 bedroom house on the east side.
Well, it seems funny now. A bunch of my friends are starting to make the move. They've spent the last 5 to 6 years living in Seattle and the Queen Anne area, and now they're kind of moving out to Renton and east side stuff. So it's good.
That's hilarious. No, I mean, yeah, we're getting to that age. I'm not going to lie. Well, anything else interesting about the market right now, Tyler, and where do you think it's headed in the next couple of months? Because, we always hear that as the holiday season approaches, it slows down. And it already feels, even though there's a lot of activity on the great listings, it feels slow because there's so few listings.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch because, there's not a lot of inventory out there like we've been talking about. So the sales, you're not going to see the pendings continue to increase the way that they have. And like you said, towards the end of the year, it always really slows down towards the holidays. Everyone's getting off their Christmas list, using their disposable income for that, not really focusing on their down payment and stuff like that. But it's never been busier these last 6 months for me. So it's just continuing to go, and I don't really see it stopping in the next couple months, but we'll see what happens. I read an article a couple years ago that said the best day to buy a house is right around Christmas time. Because if your home is on the market, you really have to sell around that time. And then people obviously are feeling a little more gracious around that time.
I bet. And I know you work mostly with buyers, but would you, recommend that the wintertime as a good time to place your home on the market if it's a competitive type of listing, you think?
Oh, definitely. If you're pricing it right. We had one over the weekend. It was a equestrian property down south, and we got an offer on it the next day. So, I mean, right now is a good time. There's just not the competition there. So there's that window of opportunity before the competition comes.
All right. Well, you heard it right here. If you're thinking about hunkering down for the holiday season, maybe don't. Your house could sell in a day or a week.
There we go.
Thanks so much for joining us. That was Tyler Freed, branch manager with Windermere Real Estate Lake Taps. You're listening to Brashonomics, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Cameron Johnson, broker with iTex, tell you all about the power of organized trade. My name's Heather Moore, filling in for Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashonomics.